All right, we have problem 26 of our SAT calculator section. So we have a data set X and a data set Y. First of all, if you have not seen these before, which you should have, but if you haven't, these are called box and whisker plots. Box because it's a box, and whisker because it looks like cat whiskers. I'm not sure if they're still called that anymore. That's what they used to be called, at least. So the box plots, they call them box plots. We'll go with that. I also call them box and whisker plots. It just adds a little bit of personality to them, like cat whiskers. I like cats personally, so. And dogs are good too. Everyone gets in this weird fight with dogs and cats over which one's better. They're both good. Like it's like the whole cake versus pie thing. They're both good. There's nothing wrong with them both being good. So anyway, the box plots summarize a data set X and a data set Y as seen. Each of the data sets consists of a total of 100 integers. Which of the following statements must be true? We have two statements here. And notice that the question is not asking you about whether which one is true. In actuality, this question is a little poorly written. The actual question is asking you to determine if this one's true, if this one's true, if both of them are true, or if neither of them are true. Okay, so let's look at our box and whisker plot. Let's make sure we understand all the components. So first of all, we have in the middle here, we have of each of them aptly named is median. If we have the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, the median is 3. If we have the numbers 2, 3, and 4, our median is again 3. If we have the numbers like 1, 7, and 10, the median is 7. It's whatever the number is in the middle when you cross off the highest and lowest values in pairs. So this median represents the middle, per se, of the data. You can see it is relatively close to the middle of our box and whisker plot. Now, the farthest on the outsides, these represent values of our box and whisker plots, represents the minimum, I'm going to denote that min, and the maximum. So of each of our data sets, these are the highest values recorded and the lowest values recorded. Okay, now you might be wondering what determines how big the box is. So note that the median splits this data set into two separate halves. When we have a middle number or a middle value, that by definition separates us into two separate parts. There's a split down the middle. We can do that again. So for example, if we have our median here and we split into halves, let's call this half 1, let's call this half 2. Split down the middle. We have half 1 over here, we have half 2 over here. All right, this 2 closer. Then we can do the same thing. We can find the median of data set 1, which is here. And then the median of data set 2, and that's here. What this is called is the first quartile range, and then the third quartile range, okay? So, knowing all that stuff that we know now, we want to evaluate which things are true. The mean of data set X is less than the mean of data set Y. The mean is less of X than the mean is of Y. Do we know that? No, we don't know that because we know nothing about the mean according to our box and whisker plot. The median of data set X is less than the median of data set Y. We do know that because the box and whisker plot tells us directly where the medians are. We see X is more negative, less on our number line than Y is. 5 is less than 6. So because 5 is less than 6, our median for X is less than our median for Y. We know that the median of X is less than the median of Y. So this must be true. But that's not our answer. We still need to evaluate 1. We said that we don't know enough to determine. So, first of all, we know it can't be neither of them because we know 2 is true. It can't be just 1 because we know 2 is true. So it's either 2 or 1 and 2. So we need to determine, we know virtually nothing about 1. So our best educated guess, if you were to take one, would be to just mark 2, which would be B. But going a little deeper, this is why it's super important to read the directions. Which of the following statements, the question it's actually asking us, which of the following statements must be true? Okay, so this is where people get tripped up. It's not asking you which one could be true, it's which one must be true. It's undeniably true based on the data shown. So because of that fact, we need to know that it is true. It must be true. We have to completely rule out 1, or we can completely rule out 1, because we don't know. It's not certain. 2 is certain. We know that the median is less. So our answer is going to be B, only 2.